They are young, vulnerable girls from Myanmar's rural villages. Desperately poor, they are sold a vision of money and adventure. All they have to do is sign up to become maids in Singapore. But for many, the reality is far darker. I'm Steve Chow. On this episode of 101 East, we find out why girls who are too young to work continue to be trafficked to Asia's most prosperous nation.
In May last year, a young domestic worker from Myanmar had a terrifying fall from the 9th floor of this block of flats in Singapore. Her employer, whom we will call John, can still remember that day.
当时他就是拿了手机，偷偷的下楼打了差不多整整1个小时。上来的时候，我发觉了，我就confiscate 他手机，那他就很不开心，很不开心。当然他就爬了窗外，就是想吓一吓我们。不小心从9楼掉到7楼了。
The girl, who John knows as Tintin, was severely injured and is lucky to be alive. Her fall was broken by a covered walkway 2 stories down. John says he was initially very angry about what she'd done, but then he found out something shocking from the Myanmar embassy. Tintin was just 15 years old.
我真的是有一点。 太替她太不值了，就很可怜。一个15岁的小女生出来新加坡工作，然后他们的思想又不成熟，所以会导致到这种问题发生。
John and his wife hired Tintin through a Singaporean employment agency called Asset Recruitment. According to this information sheet prepared by the company, she was 23 years old. Asset Recruitment declined repeated requests for comment.
他帮你们介绍这个女佣给你们，帮你们就是说安抚这个女佣，所以中介的责任应该是很大，而不是推卸责任。所以我很不幸的就接触到这个中介。
But Tintin's is not an isolated case.
I'm sorry to trouble you.
In 2016, in an exclusive investigation, 101 East revealed that teenage girls were being trafficked from Myanmar to Singapore for domestic work.
Do you also send girls to Singapore as well?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
This was despite laws in Myanmar banning all female citizens from seeking such jobs overseas, following reports of abuse, as well as laws in Singapore stipulating that all foreign domestic workers have to be at least 23 years old. Now, we're discovering that the illegal trafficking of vulnerable young girls continues.
We see at least 1 case a month of underage Burmese domestic worker. These would be those that are under the legal minimum required age of 23. A number of these would be 18 and below, meaning they are teenagers.
And that's a conservative estimate, right?
Yes, so that's a conservative estimate. There would likely be significant underreporting. So there are some domestic workers we strongly suspect are underage, but they may not admit to being underage.
All I want, Mom, is transfer, but the decision is my employer. It's okay.
For any domestic worker who has been abused, seeking help can be a daunting prospect. Many owe their agents hefty recruitment fees of up to 8 months' salary and would rather endure ill treatment than risk being sent home in debt.
I believe there would also be underage Burmese domestic workers who are trapped in households and do not know how to seek help. So that's also another factor in the underreporting of such cases.
Some cases end in tragedy. Just 4 weeks after arriving here, domestic worker Wine allegedly jumped out of the window of her employer's 18th floor flat. At her funeral, we meet her older sister Cho, who also came to Singapore as a domestic worker. A volunteer from a migrant workers NGO helps to translate. But we don't get to speak further as Chocho is led away by officials from the Myanmar embassy.
Sorry, we don't have time yet. We have to click.
To find out the truth about Wine, we travel to the Mandalay region in central Myanmar. It's a world away from Singapore. Down a dirt track off the main road is Indorji village. This is where Wine and her sister Chocho grew up and where their mother and family still live. Their brother Yan Ong has been unwell for months, unable to work after a minor wound became infected because he couldn't afford to get it treated. He and his wife have just had a baby, but he only wants to talk about his sister. He wasn't home when a recruitment agent from a neighboring village showed up one day. It was their mother who agreed to let Wine go. As we'd suspected, Wine was underage. Family records show she was only 17. We're told the same agent has recruited at least 60 girls from this village to go to Singapore. One of them has recently returned and come to visit Wine's family. Kinshaw is 20 years old. Unable to cope with being away from home, she quit only a month after leaving Myanmar. Her mother tells us another of her daughters is still working in Singapore. For the better part of the interview, Kinshaw leaves the talking to her mother, but she does try to interrupt her once. For Wine's grieving family, these are clearly difficult words to hear. But their neighbor doesn't stop. She wants us to know that she believes the agent is the village's benefactor. A day's drive south takes us to the Bago region. We're hoping to see Momo. We last met her on this rooftop in Singapore as part of our 2016 investigation. She was just 17 when she went there as a domestic worker. She told us she endured months of sexual abuse by her employer. She fled as soon as the 8 months were up, but had to remain at a shelter in Singapore for another 2 years to assist police in investigations. They've finally allowed her to come home, even though the case remains unresolved.
သူများငါလာပြန်လာနေသူတို့ဆောင်းနေပါတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့သူတို့ကပုံမဆိုင်သေးဘူးပြမခေါ်သေးဘူးပေါ့အဲ့တော့လည်းသူများလည်းယောက်ျားရပါ
She's now 5 months pregnant. Her husband doesn't have a regular job.
အခုကတော့အခုနည်းနည်းအဖေဒီနာပေးနာပါပဲနေပြီးတော့စားရတာပြီးတော့လည်းတစ်ခါလဲသူများလည်းအလုပ်ခေါ်ရလေအဲ့လိုမျိုးတွားပြီးတော့တရက်ဆို9ထော်ရဆိုတာအဲ့လိုမျိုးဝယ်စားရတယ်
With so few opportunities, it's no wonder girls from this village are still leaving for Singapore. Momo says despite what happened to her, she doesn't try to stop them.
တွေ့တော့လည်းတမီးကစီကူပါမကောက်ပါဘူးလို့ပတ်စာရတော့ရတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့စီကတော့ရှိပါတယ်လို့ဒါမဲ့တချို့လူအရှိတွေကမကောက်ကြဘူးလို့တမီးအပြောတာဒါမှမဲလို့တမီးပုံနာပါယူထားလဲလို့နေတို့ခါရောက်ပို့ဆိုင်ပြီးတော့တမီးလည်းအကူကြီးတမီးအစီကူမှာတီးတဲ့လူကိုအကူကြီးပေးမယ်လို့အဲ့လိုပြောထားတယ်ခါယူဘတ်ဒီမှာဒါအဲ့ဝါကြည်ဝါလေ
Tintin is one domestic worker who did need help. She's the 15-year-old who accidentally fell from her employer's apartment building. She is still recovering from her injuries. She shows us the passport she used to get a job in Singapore. Almost all the information in it is false. At home, she's known as Zinzin, and she was born in 2002, not 1993. She confirms what happened to her in Singapore.
အဲ့နေကတော်သမီးဖုန်းယူထားတယ်။သမီးနည်းနည်းစိတ်ဆိုးရတယ်။အဲ့ဒီအချိန်မှာသမီးအပေါ်တက်လိုက်တယ်။တက်လိုက်တဲ့အချိန်ကမှသမီးအကိုလည်းမခုံချဘူးနော်။ခုံချမယ်လို့လည်းစစ်ကွဲမထည့်တာဘူး။အဲ့နည်းဖြစ်တဲ့ခါကျတော့ကြင်နဲ့သောက်ထိုးပြုတ်ကြသွား။အဲ့လိုမျိုးဖြစ်သွား
She'd gone to work in Singapore hoping to help support her impoverished family. But because of the money she owed to her recruitment agents, she came home with nothing. Now, her mother has to take care of her instead. Zinzin fractured her spine when she fell, but is now able to walk slowly after donors paid for her to have surgery. But she may need another operation soon. She shows us her scars. It's unlikely they'll ever go away. But how did a 15-year-old pass for 23? We've received a tip-off about the person who allegedly helped to make this happen.
Do you know this man?
The man in the picture is Louis Zonglei Tang. He is a member of parliament from Myanmar's Chin state. An online search tells us he's also the director of a company called Myanmar Global Manpower Link. The company name sounds awfully familiar.
I'm sorry to trouble you.
We've seen it before, on a sign inside the recruitment agency in Yangon that we discovered in 2016 was illegally sending girls to Singapore.
Do you also send girls to Singapore as well?
Yes.
You do?
This was despite Myanmar's ban on women working overseas as domestic workers. The website for the company lists several phone numbers. When we cross-check them against the contact list of the country's politicians, we find a match. One of the numbers belongs to Louis Zonglei Tang. We decide to give him a call.
Hello, ဒါ Global Manpower Agency ရလားရှင်
မသိဘူးထုံမနေတယ်အဲ့ဒါမဟုတ်ဘူး
အော်ဟုတ်ကဲ့ရှင်ဟုတ်ကဲ့
We try the second number on the website. This time we have better luck.
Hello
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ Global Manpower Agency ရလားရှင်
ဘယ်လိုလဲတူနော်
Our researcher says she's looking to send a 19-year-old domestic worker to Singapore, and a friend has recommended their agency. But the woman says she's no longer able to help.
Louis ကြီးရောရှိလားဟင် Louis စုံလျံထန်းဆိုလား Louis လို့ပဲပြောလိုက်တာ
သူ2015ကတည်းကဒီ company ကိုကျွန်မဆွဲလိုက်တာနေသူကတော့ဒီဟာသူ့ရဲ့အရင်က MD ပေါ့အရင် MD ပေါ့နော်
If what she says is true, Louis Zong was managing director of a company involved in illegally sending domestic workers to Singapore in contravention of the 2014 ban. To find out more, we travel to the outskirts of Yangon. We're looking for the office of Myanmar Global Manpower Link. According to the address on the company's website, this should be it. Inside, a man refuses to speak on camera. But he tells us the house was leased by an employment agency which moved out recently. The neighbors prove more approachable, although they ask us to hide their identities. We show them a picture of Louis Zong and ask if they've seen or recognize him.
သူဟုတ်လားမသိဘူးဟုတ်တယ်သူဟုတ်တယ်အမတို့ဘယ်တော့ကနောက်ဆုံးတွေ့ခဲ့လဲ15ရက်လောက်လွန်ခဲ့တဲ့15ရက်လောက်ပါဘောနော်ဟုတ်တယ်ခါတိုင်းတော့သူဒီအိမ်မှာဘလို့ထူးခြားမှုမျိုးတွေတွေ့လဲထူးခြားမှုကအဲ့ဒီခလေးတွေတော့လာတာတော့တွေ့ရလေအထုံးနဲ့လာတယ်ကားနဲ့လာတယ်မနေ့ဆိုအစောအဲ့လိုထွက်သွားတာအဲ့လိုတော့တွေ့တယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့လိုမလာတော့တာလေ2လလောက်ရှိသွားပြီသူဘယ်လိုပြောရမလဲပေါ့နော်အဲ့လိုလေခလေးအရင်ဆိုလေမင်းလေးတော်တော်များများလေခလေးတွေလာကြတယ်သွားကြတယ်သူအဲ့လိုရှိဒါနဲ့အခုနောက်ပိုင်းကြတော့လေ2လမလို့ပြောလို့မရဘူးသူကလောညဘက်ကိုအနေနဲ့တက်တဲ့ချိန်လာတယ်ဟုတ်လားလေညီမလေးသူတို့ကအလုတ်ကန်ရှာဖွေရေးဆိုပြီးတော့သူတို့ကနှင်းထည့်တာနော်ဟုတ်ကဲ့
When 101 East spoke to Louis Zong, he confirmed he was the managing director of Myanmar Global Manpower Link until 2015 and remained a director until 2016. He denied knowing the company was involved in illegal activities and rejected all of Zinzin's allegations. But he did admit to owning the house where the company had its office and that he had visited recently. Agencies in the business of moving underage girls overseas need one thing: passports with fake birth dates. A street near the Yangon passport office is host to a thriving industry. For a fee, passport brokers can help clients circumvent all sorts of bureaucratic hassles and apparently even a few laws. We randomly choose one and tell her our cover story. We're trying to send a 19-year-old domestic worker to Singapore. A second broker we approach is equally direct.
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်စာအုပ်ထွက်လာရင် PG ဖြစ်ရမယ်အသက်လုပ်ပြီးဆက်နေဆက်သုံးနေလုပ်ပြီးအဲ့ဆိုတော့ထွက်လို့ရတယ်
With so many people making money off this illegal trade, it's hard to stem the tide. And local labour activist Mama U says the blanket ban is doing more harm than good.
ခိုးထွက်လို့အန္တရာယ်ဖြစ်နေလို့မရှုမလဖြစ်နေလို့ပေါ့နော်ဒီအစိုးရအနေနဲ့ကလည်းတာဝန်ယူမှုတာဝန်ခံမှုပိုင်းမှာလည်းခက်ခဲလာတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ဒါတရားဝင်ထွက်တာပို့ပြီးတော့တင့်တော်တယ်တရားဝင်ခွင့်ပြုမိတ်ရဖို့ရတော့လိုအပ်နေတယ်
She says the situation is also more nuanced than it appears. Child labour is not uncommon in Myanmar, and domestic workers here can be as young as 11 years old.
ပြည်တွင်းမှာက3000ကနေပြီးတော့6000ထိပဲရတာ哦ဒါအဲ့တော့6သိန်းရမယ်9သိန်းရမယ်ဆိုတဲ့ဟာကိုသူတို့ကအဲ့ဒီမျှော်လင့်ချက်ကလေးနဲ့ပွဲစားတွေရဲ့စကားကိုယုံကြည်ပြီးတော့ဒါပြည်ပကိုထွက်ပြီးတော့အိမ်အကူအလုပ်လုပ်ကြတာဖြစ်လာတယ်
At Myanmar's Labour Department, we learn the government is acutely aware of the trafficking that's happening under its nose. But spokesperson Kin Wei-u says her department can only track the 130 women who went legally to work in Singapore before the ban. It's harder to help if an underage girl leaves Myanmar illegally.
အဲ့ဒီကလေးတွေကလေ agency ကအန်တီတို့130မှာမပါတော့ဒီအန်တီတို့လွတ်ထားတဲ့130မှာမပါတော့ဘယ်သူလွတ်ထားလဲလို့အန်တီတို့ကသိချင်တာသမီးရဲ့အဲ့ဒါခါကျအဲ့ဒီ agency အဲ့ဒီဆိုရင် तू ကသူ့ကိုကလေးအဆင်မပြေတဲ့အချိန်မှာသမီးရဲ့ तू ကကူညီရမယ်လေ तू ကငွေယူဝန်ဆောင်ကားကိုယူပြီးတော့လွတ်ထားတဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်တာဝန်ယူရမယ့်တာဝန်ကသူ့တာဝန်ရှိတယ်
It appears that when there are cases of exploitation and abuse, the Labour Department expects the traffickers to look after the girls they traffic. We ask if Myanmar and Singapore are working together to solve the problem.
အန်တီတို့ကိုလည်းပေါ့နော်ဒီအိမ်တွင်းထောက်ကူလို့တမကိုလွှတ်ပေးပါပေါ့နော်တရားဝင်တာလွှတ်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ပေါ့ဒီလိုအဆင်မပြေမှုတွေလည်းဖြစ်မှာမဟုတ်ပါဘူးပေါ့သူတို့အဲ့လိုပြောကြ
Back in Singapore, it's clear to see the ban isn't working. Every week, hundreds of domestic workers from Myanmar gather here to enjoy their day off. Most, if not all of them, have managed to circumvent the ban. Some look like they are still in their teens. When we raised the issue with Singapore's Ministry of Manpower, they responded in writing, saying, "The passport remains the primary document for identification and age verification. It is thus important for authorities in the source country to ensure the accuracy of the details in the passport." It's 4 months since her sister's death, and Chocho is still grieving. When we first met at the funeral, she told us Wine was 23 or 24. But now she says she was too scared to reveal the truth. Their Myanmar agent had instructed her to lie. It's hard letting go. Chocho still can't believe her sister killed herself. The two sisters never got to meet in Singapore. Chocho had been trying for days to reach Wine when she received news of her death. That was nearly 4 months ago, but she still doesn't know what happened. We've come to the condominium where Wine was working and where she'd allegedly jumped 18 floors to her death. Chocho is hoping to meet her sister's employer, but she's scared to go inside. So we offer to make the initial approach for her. But the employer doesn't want to meet Chocho. Instead, she tells security to throw us out.
The gun here.
The family of your former domestic worker just want to find out how she died. The sister is not interested in a confrontation. She just wants to know what happened to her younger sister. Can you just explain to her what happened?
Excuse me, stop here. Right now, stop here.
Woodlands.
Wine Wine was only 17 when she died. Cho Cho doesn't think she'll ever know why.
သူတို့အကူညီပေးဖို့ဟုတ်စားအဓိကတာဝန်ရှိတာဒီတန်ရုံးကပဲတာဝန်ရှိတာသူတို့ကမှတာဝန်ယူပြီးတော့သူတို့ကိုမေးပြီးသူတို့ကမေးပိုင်ခွင့်မရှိဘူး
She regrets not trying harder to reach Wine Wine. But most of all, she regrets not telling her underage sister to stay at home.